Hey guys, I'm at the gym again, trying to build the healthy habit, because again, it was shut down for so long, and I just want to get back into it. I'm going to do some weights afterwards. It's 7:40 in the morning. I woke up at 4:30, which is great. I've been sleeping like 10 to 4 lately, so what is that, 6 hours? Alright, so Randy GBH, one of my subscribers, commented he liked my review, so I'm just going to do that anyways. Thanks Randy for the suggestion. And he's actually my biggest, he has the most subscribers of any of my people. So I think he has like more than 1,000, which is cool, good job. All right, so I'm just gonna talk about some movies. I sorted it by my rating. So these are all my 10 stars. And they're pretty diverse movies, so let's get into it. Whew. I'm doing just 3.4 kilometers per hour, but pretty uphill. All right, so the first movie on here is Let the Right One In, which is a horror movie. Most of my favorite movies are horror. I really like horror. I kind of have I'm not going to say I'm a weird person for liking horror, but it seems like most weird people do like horror. Anyways, this one's Let the Right One In, which is, it's like Norway or Finnish, one of those Northern European countries. Let den rat komma in. Yeah, that's definitely English. Where's it from? Anyways, this is a great movie. You can see it has a really high score, 7.9, which is super high for any kind of horror movie. And it's not just horror. What, does it even say horror? No, apparently it's crime, drama, fantasy, horror, and romance. Lots of genres there. Anyways, it's cool. It's about this little, spoilers. It's about this little immortal vampire girl. She's like a preteen. She's like 11 or 12. Like right on the cusp of like womanhood, like being a teenager, but she is still a child. But there is that like sexual element there, because the boy that likes her, you know, like has preteen sexual feelings for her. I don't know, it's kind of weird. But anyways, so she's a vampire, and she's not very independent. She has some guy, like some adult guy, like some old guy, living with her and helping her out. And there's kind of like a Lolita vibe, like does he like her like sexually, or like what is the relationship there? And at the very end, Oscar, the little boy, he's like 10 or 11, becomes like her new keeper. So he's gonna age eventually and just become an old man, and then eventually she's gonna replace him. So there's just this weird, dreary sense. I'm not very good at using these kind of words to describe feelings. I'm gonna try to just use better language though than good, bad, or stupid, which I often do. So I'm trying my hardest to put it eloquently. So yeah, that's pretty much that. It's a 7.9, which is a great rating for any kind of horror movie. It's not in English though, so subtitles. There's an American remake that's not as good. So you could watch that if you want to just hear English, but this one is just fantastic. All right, I'm just gonna do like 4 or 5. I'm just gonna try to like do a few every day. I'm just trying to build this healthy habit of getting in the gym more. All right, number 2 is a really popular movie, Brokeback Mountain. I know like all the memes and jokes, like it's super gay. It is super gay. It's about 2 dudes having sex with each other. That's the definition of gay. But no, it's just really good acting. For the most part, Jake Gyllenhaal has not been in any bad movies, except for this one where there's like 2 of him and he's trying to figure out who the other guy is. That movie is obscure and weird and not good. All right, so I mean, everyone already knows this movie, but in case you don't, it's just about these 2 gay cowboys and just like a lot of interesting feelings about like regret and like repression. Because like, you know, America's super open nowadays, but there was a time when being gay would probably get you beat up or, you know, executed if you're in certain areas or in certain time periods. And like, you know, they both end up marrying girls and living the normal straight guy life, and they're not happy. The only time they live is when they have like their yearly fishing trips where they just go have a lot of gay sex and go fishing. And there's this part, Heath Ledger, he kind of has like a crappier life. He's like poor. Jake Gyllenhaal marries some rich farm girl. Anyways, his life is much crappier. And there's this great scene where he's like, I just can't quit you. Like, he wants to like stop loving him. And it's just beautiful. Like, I love this movie. Really good. And the book is fantastic too, and it's a pretty short read. I read the book. So yeah, anything with Jake Gyllenhaal is 99.9% of the time going to be good. All right, and Heath Ledger was great, of course. All right, number 3, kind of a basic movie, basic meaning like popular, basic bitch. I use that term all the time, basic bitch, BB. All right, American Sniper. I think it has Bradley Cooper. I think Bradley Cooper is one of the most handsome guys in Hollywood. This picture doesn't look great, but he looks really good when he's a bit thinner. Same with me, like chunky doesn't look good on anyone really. All right, so it's not really like an action movie, although it says action right there. I see it more as like a drama. And I honestly forget it, but I think there's like a few like breakdowns where he's like super dramatic. And honestly, I don't remember it that well, but apparently I gave it a 10 out of 10. All right, the next one, again, very BB. I don't want to use bad language a lot, so I'm just going to say BB for basic bitch. Very BB, meaning popular. And just because something's popular doesn't really mean it's bad, although it has a greater chance of being bad because people are just extremely, like lowest hanging fruit, like the common denominator. For the most part, if something's extremely popular, there's not really much risk or effort put into it. It follows a formula. But I like this one just because it's true, and I read the story. Like, he was just like carrying guys, and he was like, is this the one with that skinny guy? Yeah, this has that crappy Spider-Man guy in it. And there's this part where he's just like climbing a mountain and carrying guys and then carrying them back to the tent. I'm about to cry right now just thinking about it. Like, he's like, just that level of sacrifice. Like, imagine doing that for people like that aren't your family, just people essentially colleagues. I mean, they're army mates. And just that was the one scene that made the movie for me. And there was just like good acting too, and the fact that he's like he's like anti-gun, but he still wanted to be in active combat because he wanted to help his country and help his people. And that was actually one of the wars that was pretty useful, World War II. All right, this is cool. I actually saw The Joker. Then I read a lot of comments that The Joker was basically the king of comedy mixed with Taxi Driver, 2 movies that I hadn't seen. So I went to go see them. And I think it's Robert De Niro. Yeah, Robert De Niro. And the king of comedy is great. Let me read it real quick to remember it. Passionate. All right, so basically any kind of movie where there's like a slow descent into madness is something that I'm gonna like. And that's what it is. Like, I think he becomes like a stalker of some famous comedian that he likes. And again, it's very, I'm not gonna say it's Joker-esque, because this is like 40 years before The Joker. So The Joker is very king of comedy-esque. If you like The Joker, you're gonna like this movie. And it's old, so if you don't like old movies, maybe you won't like it, but give it a try at least. Like, De Niro is just so charming. Like, especially in Taxi Driver when he's young, he is a handsome dude. Because a lot of people only see him as like this 70-year-old actor, or even 80 now. Like, he's a super handsome, good actor. I like his movies a lot. De Niro. All right, Joker. I really don't even need to talk about this movie. I watched it. It didn't play in, I lived in China like before Corona happened. It didn't come out in China because it's about like rebellion and anti-government protesting, blah, 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 blah. So of course China would not show it. So I had to watch it like illegally online. I don't know why I did that. It's illegal for sure. So I had to watch it online, and it was hilarious. I watched it in 120p, like the graphics. Like 1080p is good, 4K is really good, 720 is passable. I watched it in 120p, so everything was just like fuzzy and hard to see, and it was also the Russian copy. So whenever they showed his diary, everything was written in Russian. So I wasn't able to see like those little jokes in the movie, like, I hope my death makes more sense to my life, sense spelled C-E-N-T-S. And the worst thing about having a mental illness is people expect you to not act like you have a mental illness. So I wasn't able to see those like lines, which were pretty important for the movie. So I remember watching it finally in 1080p when there was a better copy, and I was like, wow, this is good. But I mean, even in 120p in Russian, it was good. Again, it's very Taxi Driver-esque and King of Comedy-esque, and even De Niro's in it, because it's basically not a reboot, but it's like an homage. And it's got Zazie Beetz. She's pretty good in it. She's been in a few things. And his mom was cool. I mean, this Joker would never be a threat to Batman. He's just not really intelligent or tough, but it's a good movie. And of course, a slow descent into madness. I love those kind of movies. The music was really good. The actors were good. No one was like annoying or anything. And like they kind of shoehorned a young Bruce Wayne into it, and Alfred and his dad, Bruce's father, Thomas Wayne. So, I mean, that wasn't the best, but it was just a fantastic movie. And, you know, there were no, like, CGI or special effects or any, like, Hollywood nonsense. So it was just fantastic. The part where he shoots those guys in the subway is very, like, visceral, and, you know, visceral just means gut-wrenching, essentially. So it's just a really good scene where he just shoots those guys. And it's very, like, mind-effy. Like, it F's with your mind. Because, like, is it a dream? Like, every time there's, like, a clock shown, it's, like, 11:11, which is, like, Make-A-Wish. And, you know, he's, like, an unreliable narrator, so we don't have to believe anything he's saying. And again, I'm on the treadmill, so that's why I'm, like, talking and moving and stuff. I'm just going to do two more. Arthur Christmas. Why did I rate that so high? It's a Christmas movie. It's animated, so those are two things that I like. Let's see. Oh, this was good. It's got James McAvoy. He's pretty much good in everything. And what was it about? Basically, it's just like, you know, I like Christmas movies. And it's just like a newer one with good graphics and a good story, very original. And I don't know. I'm not sure it really needs a 10 out of 10. Probably more like an 8 or something. But yeah, it was good. All right, and this is where you're going to learn that I like shark movies to a fault. Anything with a shark that just isn't unwatchable, I like. Well, I don't like B movies for the most part. So take back what I literally just said. All right, but good shark movies I very much like. Same with like alligators, any kind of like aquatic type things, because you know I go scuba diving a lot. I will literally watch a scary shark movie before I go scuba diving, because I like to put myself in like a uncomfortable feeling. Because when you do the thing that is uncomfortable, and you know you don't die, you feel better. So 47 Meters Down, Uncaged. Is that the sequel or the first one? Oh, this is the first one. All right. The sequel was not as good. So, I mean, maybe you don't know this, so I'll just give a little synopsis. These two sisters, one of which is like cool, one of which is dorky, go cage diving in Mexico. And of course, it's Mexico, so, you know, it's crappy. I mean, you know, Mexico's fine, but it is a third world country. So these girls go cave diving, and wait, is this the sequel? Sorry. All right, this is the sequel. I don't know why I gave it a 10 either. All right, the sequel, they go cave diving, and there's like blind sharks. Basically, I gave it such a good score because there are jump scares, which are very basic, but they were good jump scares, and me and my girlfriend were the only two people in the cinema, because shark movies are just not very popular in China. Plus, I always go at like 11 p.m. because I don't like people, so there's less people. So we were the only two people, so we were able to just like scream and yell as loud as we wanted, which was fun. Whew, and it's good. I mean, there was a reason for them to be in a cave, because a lot of the times, like, oh, why are you in this cave? It's like, there was a reason. And then at the end, they finally leave the cave. And then, like, there's a boat, like some tourist boat, and the sharks are still, I think then it was normal sharks, because the first was the blind cave sharks, then it was just normal sharks. So, like, the end is just freaking crazy. And again, it's very not good if you don't like shark movies, but I like it a lot. And it was just well shot. Like, you know, I've been cave diving, I've been underwater at night, I've been all this stuff, and it looks pretty realistic. All right, I'll do one more. All right, 10 out of 10 for Alien. That's, like, super obvious. Like, why does that have a 10 out of 10? Because it's Alien. But no, I mean, if you haven't seen it, maybe you haven't, because, you know, it is old. It's not even a horror movie. It's more of like a suspense. It's definitely sci-fi. And it's just super well acted. And it has like a strong female character.
Sunny day.
You know, like girl power, hear me roar, all that stupid nonsense. Like girls, you can be cool, but you don't need to like announce that you're a female every 10 seconds. Whenever I do a cool thing, it's not because I'm a guy, it's because I'm doing the right thing as a human. So anyways, Riley is cool. Sigourney Weaver. Ripley, oh yeah, it's Ripley, yeah. And all the other actors are fine. And it's cool because the alien is just more like down to earth in this one. Like, you know, he's not like running up walls and like spitting acid. He's just one thing. And the people are not soldiers. They're not space marines like in the sequel. They're just like engineers or like basically truckers. And the cool thing is like the blood is super acidic. A single drop like went through like many levels of the spaceship. So they can't just like shoot it. So I mean, you know, like it takes away that element. Like, oh, why don't they just shoot it? It's like an animal, you know? It's like, all right, so now they cannot shoot it, so they need to think like intelligently and creatively as to how to defeat it. Whew, and the effects look really good. There was like the actor for it, they were in Africa, and there was like this guy who was like 7 foot tall and super skinny. He had some kind of like bone disease, and he played the alien. So the alien is just this really tall, really skinny guy, like in a rubber suit, and they do it very well. And then, of course, like all the lore, like all the history of it, like at the end, the alien's kind of like grayish and weak and slow, because like they apparently have a very short life cycle. And it was just really cool, and like all the decorations, and it just turned like what space was supposed to be on its head. Space was always like shiny and clean and like futuristic. This looked like we could make it back in the 80s. It was just like a truck in space, like not any fancy engineering or anything. And it was good. All right, I'm just gonna do one more because I've only got 2 minutes left. Then I'll start another cycle. I'm gonna do about an hour on the treadmill, I think. Alien, Onward. Okay, what is that? Oh, that is the Disney movie that just came out last year, or 2020, yeah, 2020. It wasn't like super critically acclaimed because it came out during Corona, so not a lot of people were out watching movies at that time. So it's got Spider-Man, Tom Holland, and it's got Chris Pratt, and I guess those actors weren't really that good because I don't remember them. So it's got those two guys. And it's a Disney movie. It's Pixar. Well, everything is Disney now. It's a Pixar Disney movie, and it's super touching. Like, brings tear to your eyes. And there's like a really nice message. Like, his father is like dead, and he's been dead since Spider-Man was a kid. And he doesn't really remember him. And there's like this spell. There's like magic. It's like kind of a dungeon in D&D, Dungeons and Dragons kind of world, like very fantasy. And there's this spell that'll bring him back for one day. And they just, you know, like a lot of misadventures and good action scenes, and probably it doesn't need a 10. I don't know why I did that. But it is good. It's like an 8 at least. And the end is super touching because like it doesn't give you the ending that you thought it would get. Like he sees his father, they hug, blah, blah, blah. He's like trapped under a bunch of rubble, and there's only like a few minutes left of the spell. And it's like, oh man, I don't even get to see my dad. So that's good, because that's how you subvert expectations, Star Wars. Not by just making a crap movie with like, oh man, Star Wars, the new Star Warses were terrible. Anyways, so that's how you subvert expectations, by, you know, doing it well. All right, I'm gonna end here. Let me count how many I did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wow, nice, I did 10. In about 20 minutes. All right, that's not a bad pace. All right, guys, comment below. You know, I'm stuck here in Thailand with nothing to do and no one to talk to except for my students. And just comment below. I'll make sure to say hey and what's up. All right, guys, bye-bye.